Alrighty, hello and welcome once again to another shoutcast for Ashes of the Singularity Escalation. Today I have two great players playing on Italia. In the bottom right, playing as the blue Substrate, Neatap. And his opponent, the victor of the last cast, Shimbalama. So I've been playing a few games today versus Neatap. First time I've actually played versus him, and he's really good. He used to play it a while ago, but he took a big break and now came back on the scene and one of the best players sort of out of nowhere. So that's really exciting, both for different opponents, for myself, and to have other people to shoutcast. Especially because he's in the Australian time zone. So Shimbalama, myself, and Neatap are all Aussies, so it's really easy for us to do these. It's now, it's only like 9 PM, or at least where I am in Perth. I think for you guys it's a bit later. They're in the eastern states. So I know this is Shimbalama's favorite map. It's a pretty interesting map because it's the biggest 2-player map. There's plenty of large 4-player maps which function for 1v1, but it's it's quite large. So you have not much resources in the middle, but it's the most direct path to your base. So if you want to attack them directly, quickly, then the middle is the way to do that, but you can't hold the resources there. There's the trinium generators, however, so you have to think about that. Do you want trinium? Do you want resources? Do you want your attack path? And there is a really crucial navigation path there. So air units are very strong on this map, so got to make sure both of our players are vying for control of the skies. Very common part of Ashes. Oh, is that Blake? Oh, bro, just in time. I'm casting Ashes, bro. Hurry up, get over here. Well, my housemate has just emerged. Yeah. Well, the second game, but the first one wasn't very good, so I'm not going to post that one. So.
What, you have the webcam running, or?
No. Well, I don't bother with a webcam if it's just me, but too late now. Anyway, put down your samurai sword. Oops. Yeah, so we see quick airfield here. I was just saying that on a map this big, you really want to make sure you have, control of the skies. So even double Sky Factory is important. Aviary as well, the equivalent there for the Substrate. Welcome.
Hola. Nice to see you guys. Samurai Sword is down. I'm ready to cast some Ashes of the Singularity. Gotta love a live game. That's what you gotta love. Neatep.
Neatap, yeah, he's not new to the game, but he's came back.
Right.
He's come back. Okay. So, and he's a really good player. I was playing with him today. 2-1 in my favor, so it was pretty intense. And yeah, Shimbalama. So this should be a really intense match. I'm looking forward to this one because they're two very top tier players. Oh, you don't have audio though, do you?
No, it's cool. I don't need it though.
Yeah.
This is fine. I can see what's going on. I'll imagine audio. We'll go with that. So see how that goes. I'm pretty sure that engineer's gonna be in range of the creeps. By the way, they get really angry if you start building stuff nearby.
Oh yeah.
Looks like they won't go for the engineer. Oh no, they are. Look at that. They go for the engie.
Well, I'd be pretty mad if someone was putting an armory next to my house. Yeah. Be like, mate, can you not? You're going to attract all those Substrate bombers.
Yeah. Nasty. Okay, it looks like the medic's going to be taking the damage. I think that's actually a smart move, even if the medic goes down, because you don't want them sniping the engineers. They actually kill the engineers, like, if there's enough of them focused, they will kill the engineers, so.
Yeah, it'll take some time, but here come the archers to finally clean those angry creeps. And with a map this big, it's less about rushing your opponent and more about how well can you expand your economy. Not only in terms of expansion, of capping more territory, but also in terms of getting those amplifiers, getting those harvesters, those refineries, and those orbitals, because normally it takes you sort of that mid to late game to start getting them. On a map this large, you can just get them right away. You don't need to hold up.
The really quick investment just tends to be the way to go. And we already have, is that the power regulator, or...
Yeah, the fabricator.
Oh, that's the orbital fabricator, right? So for the coolants, yeah.
Yep.
Fabricator is what I was thinking. Fabricator in my head and saying power regulator. So I was 50% right. We'll go with that. Okay, cool. So it doesn't give him the opportunity to go for a few Quanta call-ins. Not that he's exactly floating a lot of Quanta at the moment. Early investments having to go towards population cap. So.
This is really nasty. He's just sent a bunch of lone squads to try and get these decaps. Completely undefended is the engineer. Now, he can't capture the point because the engineer captures it as well. And the engineer has a bit of health, given that it's only a single martyr.
Single model martyr.
Yeah, it's going to take some time there. That one, emergency turret was thrown down, but he couldn't throw down 2 emergency turrets. So by splitting up those martyrs, it's really baited out all these orbitals.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty way to play, because obviously all the Guardians have been cleared, and it's pretty doubtful that any defenses have been put that far forward at that point. I mean, normally the engineers are fairly busy just building their refineries. You got other ones back home, of course, are investing in other types of economy and production, so smart move.
Yeah. You can do the same thing with the Hermes, because they're really fast, significantly faster than the brutes, so you just go straight for the cutoff, or just any decaptors that you can. You know, you don't have to destroy extractors in order to harass your opponent. You have that option for decapping as well. Another emergency turret. Man, that's about, I don't know, 130 Quanta, plus it does ramp up, so in future it's going to be harder to do that.
Yeah, with that being said, save the engineer by the skin of its teeth. Like, that engineer is hella low. 38 health out of 350, so below about 10% health. So lucky. Yeah, good to see the Searcher coming out. It's actually going to scout out, I guess, air defenses, what's around. Already sees a Fury and a Constable, so that's a fair bit of knowledge gained, at least on that side of the map.
Yeah, whenever I cast Ashes, I always had this monologue about how important scouting is. So Neatap's my favorite kind of player because he actually does throw away the searching planes and make sure he knows what's going on. I also like how Shimbalama preemptively has the Smarty and the Constable here. This point on the map is a very vital cutoff because it connects this entire top right section of the map. So it's a very common spot for those orbital harassments, the incursion, sentries and so forth.
Dominator versus Fury engagements. Pretty smart. Just wanting to trade out as many Furies as possible if you're going for heavy air. Any trade's a good trade. Ooh. Actually see the structure going down. Good Hades.
Yeah, that's nice. It's going to prevent that anti-air turret. Going for some of the martyrs as well. So Neatap has a pretty big lead of the Trinium though. Shimbalama hasn't been prioritizing that. And he's also behind in economy as well, so it looks like a much stronger opening so far from Neatap, but he has a decent army here, and he's going to clean up this small army from Neatap. That's a bit of a throwaway there. There's a lot of medics, or enough medics, so it means that he wasn't really losing anything. He's kind of picking away these units for free.
And the drone hives were just too far behind to actually contribute. Like, maybe if the drone hives were a bit further forward, we could have seen the medics go down as quickly as they have now, but it doesn't end up panning out. Drone hives still in the air. I don't know what the Furies are doing. Can't really contribute to this engagement, but plenty of Athenas still on the ground. We'll clean up the remainder of these frigates. So good engagement, solid engagement from Shimbalama, who was actually just managed to fix his population cap. Having thrown down double emergency turret, you've always got to run the risk of, damn it, I forgot. Then it does slow down your production, at least for a period.
Yeah, that can be quite frustrating when you got to make sure you when you do go for those quantum upgrades or those orbital abilities that you aren't going to be losing out on your logistics. So, well, I guess the emergency turret paying itself off. Still there.
Yeah, they do stick around. It's kind of solid. The thing about the emergency or the 17s, it's just they do muck around. Yeah.
They didn't use
logistics. Nice work. Thank you. I was wondering what the I've only been looking for that word for the last 10 minutes. So
right.
Yeah, it's good. Good to see. Yeah, emergency turrets, they are good. They do pay themselves off. So. Ooh.
Wow.
Holy defenses, Batman.
Yeah, and that's mainly anti-air as well. Sky Ender, Starburst.
Wow.
It seems maybe a little bit too much there in the anti-air department.
I wondered where like all the cash had been going for
Neatap.
Neatap is how we're pronouncing it.
Well, it's an E, so it should be Neatep, but
right.
Whatever. So, double Artemis Cruiser, very, very juicy target here. All you can eat buffet for these artillery cruisers.
Unfortunate. I'm pretty sure this would have been a bait. Like, Neatep flies a bunch of like kind of baits out Furies, like Furies to come in, and then flies over double starburst and all the Furies just go down, because the starburst will kill the Furies incredibly quickly. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. The really important thing is these Artemis cruisers going down, because otherwise all these defenses are going to fall. At least it's mainly tier 1 basic defenses the Artemis are currently going for. It's this backline, double starburst, and the sky end that you definitely don't want to lose.
Yeah, that's expensive. Those are tier 2 defenses. That being said, Neatap still has most of the map and about 1/3 of the trinium. So Shimbalama needs to be careful, but given that he's finally flushed out these defenses, this one's going to be his in no time, and this one's still undefended, so he has plenty of time. And he has this bit of a death ball here. He's got a lot of Athenas, several Artemis cruisers, a bit of anti-air as well. Yeah, it's a pretty good mix. Maybe lacking an anti-frigate, but the thing is, the Artemis cruisers, they do double up as anti-frigate as well because of those rocket attacks.
Yeah, which works out nicely, and Neatep would not be having a good time seeing all these defenses go down. It's a pretty huge investment or get sniped. I guess a lot of the times you don't expect your opponent to go into artillery cruisers this early. A lot of the time players will kind of lack in artillery and mainly be focused on anti-cruiser and anti-frigate and just leave artillery out of the mix. But Shimbalama's done an excellent job of mixing in plenty. So he's pretty much going to be able to push through anything at this stage. Base defenses are not really going to help out Neatep.
A lot of aviaries, so he could go for a huge air transition. Doesn't have any resources banked up though, so that might be a bit difficult.
I was just wondering, like, I mean, I saw the aviaries go down earlier, and I was wondering, like, are they producing something? Am I just not seeing 1,000 units somewhere on the map?
Oh wow, drone swarm. Now there is 2 Apollos, so that shouldn't be too bad there, especially with a couple of medics as well.
It's mainly a cruiser army, so it'll be difficult with the drone storm to actually take them down enough that the medics can't kind of heal through that. And the medics will eventually fall as well, but yeah, it's essentially useless. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I think he killed 2 medics, so that wasn't really worth it. If your opponent has several Apollos, or it's actually 3 Apollos there.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
So more than 1 Apollo, maybe not worth it. Or at least if you use it in a fight where the Apollos are busy fighting on other things. If there's drone hives, if there's air units, then it's just a bunch of extra drones, and the Apollos are just too busy.
So even Hades is going to be contributing here.
Yeah, battle of the air units, but the Apollos are within range.
Yeah, they are
Dominators can't chase them too deep.
See, our training points leveled out now, so no one gaining. Furies will eventually be thrown away, but trades out for plenty of Dominators. Not a bad engagement for Shimbalama.
Now, Neatep may want to go for his subspace streamer to get the antimatter detonation, because that's the only orbital I can take out all these units. And he has a great income too, 7.5 quanta per second. Shimbalama's actually half of that, or less than that even. So this looks like a pretty mid-game army here. Neatap gearing up for this late-game war. So I guess the question is, can Neatap somehow hold this army off and buy time for what, a Dreadnought, a lot of air? Yeah, there it is. There, look at all those Punishers in the air. Massive air transition. So that's the strategy. There's only 3 Apollos. That's not a lot.
If you can work out a way to take them out, I mean, which is probably the plan. Maybe hoping that the drone swarm got more done than it did. Fortunately, it doesn't. What do we else have Shimbalama going for? Has he got another army push across the middle, maybe going for the other trinium? Yeah, point.
Oh, yeah,
okay, there's
that's
another cruiser army. Again, nice composition, well-rounded. Okay. The cruisers of Neatep up the north of the map, holding onto that trinium point.
Oh, wow, there it is.
There it is.
Okay, he needs to move away from this. He has plenty of time. Well, he did have plenty of time. Oh, man. Obviously, wasn't paying attention, loses that entire army. You have 15 seconds to dodge that.
Yeah.
And generally, you can dodge it with cruisers. It's only if you have a Dreadnought that you get bogged down, or some of the heavier cruisers, such as the Hero, they can't dodge it very well. So that was a big misplay there for Shimbalama, losing his army there. And this huge air transition is nasty. There's about 10 Punishers there, and most of the Furies have been destroyed, so there's only a handful. A single Sky Factory, that air production won't be enough.
Yeah, trade's ending up working out perfectly in Neatap's favor, because you should clean up this entire cruiser army. It's all getting sniped down. That was a very nice 30-minute detonation. You definitely can dodge it. If you have instant response, even from the center of the circle, you can dodge with the cruisers.
Yeah.
Having no orbital nullification there for Shimbalama.
Okay, Plasma Storm. I'm a little surprised that Neatap actually went to that fight. He should have just waited until he strafed the army more. He didn't need to actually attack there.
Your Furies are arriving on the scene as well, so we should see pullback. Incursion, some of these Zeus cruisers getting thrown down. It's going to help out, screw up the targeting of cruisers and Neatap, and will actually reinforce this forward army. Mobile Nullifier now being added into the composition for Shimbalama as well.
Did he lose all those Punishers?
I thought he pulled them back.
Yeah,
They pulled them back. There were just too many Furies on scene, so maybe they go and snipe down some refineries, or those emergency turrets would be smart. Let's snipe down the defenses. Could also be an option. Just with this kind of quantity, they will take them down incredibly quickly.
Okay, there's a single Falcon. But the Punishers they ignore that, just take out all the extractors. So I like that.
Yeah.
Another Falcon here though, and the Furies have arrived. So the Falcon does screw splash damage, and the Furies can chase them down. That's going to be into these Punishers, but it'll be worth it here. They're just taking out so many of these extractors.
Yeah, so it's a pretty nasty trade as it turns out. Not only is it economic damage, it's also micro-intensive now. Shimbalama has to pull engineers and replace all of those refineries, and the engineers take some time to get around the map, so it's economic damage not only now, but over time as well.
Wow, this Hyperion's found a pretty decent cruiser army. Pops the sentries as well here. Hyperion outnumbered there. There's several Maulers focusing him down. Almost level 2 though for the repair, but down she goes.
Time.
I mean, the Hyperions are good, but that was a large cruiser army, and the Maulers just focused him down.
Yeah, Dreadnoughts are fantastic, but they have to be mixed in with other cruisers and other frigates, not only for a front line, but also to have the right amount of DPS against various targets. I mean, had there been a few cruisers there, definitely could have been a better engagement.
Yeah, well, looks like Shimbalama's done really well at recovering his economy. He's actually overtaken Neatep in metal, but not quite in radioactives, and certainly not in Quanta. Oh my god, look at that. 4.5 Quanta per second, Neatap 15. So it's hard game to call it here, because each player has their own advantage in some way. And so then the question is, how can they leverage what advantage they have?
Yeah, dude, can you do me a solid real quick?
What?
Can you just scroll over to Neatep's base and show me how much Quanta production there is?
Yeah, I guess
it's beautiful and it's everywhere. So,
15.25 doesn't quite resonate as well as just the
this.
look. Oh yeah, look at that.
How many quantum archives? I know we do the Gerald's Gentleman black market count, but I don't know if we're going to do a quantum archive count here.
Yeah.
It's just out of control.
Well, if your maths are good, you won't need to. It's 0.25 per thing. So that's what, 33? Yeah, it's 33.
Yeah.
Now it's 34.
Appreciate the quick maths. Good hustle.
Quick math?
Yeah, bro, quick math. So hopefully he's starting to invest that 2k Quanta. Of course, not only do you have the orbitals, you also have the unit upgrades, unit health, unit damage. Very important upgrades that certainly can turn the tide of these cruiser engagements, because they affect all your units. Very cost efficient. So hopefully he starts investing in those, or already has, and they're very expensive at this point.
Okay, another Hyperion, and there's a decent complement of supporting cruisers. Nullifier there as well. A lot of Furies in the air. This is a great army for Shimbalama Neatap. Does he have his own Dreadnoughts on the way?
I haven't seen it at Advanced Assembly yet.
No, I didn't see one.
I would hope there is one, but maybe he's happy on the production that he's got at the moment. Certainly spending his income.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about when I played versus him. His Dreadnoughts were really late. And I like how there's a lot of Furies. Oh no, these Punishers are really cool out of position.
Yeah, they're in a good spot. I'm not sure what's actually inside this army, but it's not going to matter. Oh, the Fury Flock's going to destroy them.
Rest in peace. Pay F to pay respects.
Yeah, that's going to happen. I mean, maybe they just should have traded out again, going for something else, but Hey, we've got another engagement here. We actually see the cruisers of Neatep pulling back. I don't know if that's the right decision here. He can't take the engagement, but he kind of has to.
Yeah, you might as well try and take out some cruisers of your opponent. The Athenas and the Zeus cruisers can chase you down pretty well. Just throwing them away for free. Oh man, yeah. Punisher, Pulverizer rather. It does finish, but no health left. Calls down a drone swarm. The Hyperion level 3 now, so this is a pretty nasty army.
Yeah. See the consolidation from Neatep, but I mean the army's about the same size as it was. If you just traded, it could have been much better.
Yeah.
See with the army formation, the Mobile Nullifier is actually a little bit exposed here. It does a path to the back of the army formation, which normally keeps it safe, but in this scenario, maybe not, if we see Neatep look for an engagement.
That was a really good drone swarm though, because there was only a single polar and it wasn't even in position. So that took out several of those Athena cruisers. So that one was quite successful. And somehow Neatep has control of most of the map.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Really decent frigate army here as well. That's what happens when you set assembly rally points and don't do anything about a holy production. Whew.
Just needs to make sure he gets Nullifier mixed in because the Plasma Storm can take out frigates so quickly.
You'd wonder why he had a negative metal income. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
He's actually down a fair bit, minus 70, which means his production's quite slow. You do want to keep that around even. You're not producing efficiently if you're that far negative.
I love this Mass Harbinger transition. So those are really good versus the Dreadnoughts. They have full armor piercing. So the Dreadnought armor gets negated completely. The heroes as well, their armor doesn't matter. And the only question is, can he avoid all of these Furies? Because there's a lot of them.
But I guess the main thing is not just avoiding the Furies, is taking an engagement where the Furies aren't. As a general rule, it's hard to keep those Furies with your army. Your opponent tends to have anti-air and they just get shot down for free when they're not needed. So you tend to have it as they're being microed at the moment by Shimbalama in flocks, so they can move around the map and respond to any pressure wherever it might be. This is orbital bait.
Yeah, that's Plasma Storm bait.
That's Plasma Storm bait for sure. I would just be shocked if Shimbalama didn't go for an orbital here.
But if you are wondering how do you spend your excess metal, that is how you spend your excess metal. Mass Eradicator transition now. Neatap really making full use of the flexibility of Substrate, using those assemblies to produce frigates and cruisers and all kinds of different unit compositions. And that's part of how Substrate are meant to play. The units aren't quite as strong, but being able to counter your opponent's composition is a really good bonus.
Cruisers just getting melted as soon as the Reapers get into range. I love a good red laser. Though, a couple of nasty Zeus cruiser shots will wipe out the majority of this frigate army. I'm glad they got the last couple of whips off.
It's actually low on energy, but doesn't matter. Gonna take that army out. That's a really good trade for him, for Neatap, given that it's only the metal of his frigates. So, whenever you're trading frigates for cruisers, it's a good trade there for the frigates because then the radioactive isn't being spent on something else, whereas Neatap, all of his rads are going straight for these harbingers, for the eradicators, for more harvesters. So he can use his radioactives in other means.
Okay, currently no more cruisers moving to reinforce this forward Hyperion. Still level 3. Could take a fair bit of damage here from the base defenses. So it's actually going to pull back. Seems a little 50-50. Not really. Taking out the base defenses won't give the Hyperion very much experience, so won't level up and won't have access to the heal. And actually, these Artemis cruisers are getting in range. Exterminator.
Yeah, here come the Harbingers now. So there's a little bit of anti-air on the Hyperion, but 4 Harbingers going to be able to melt it very quickly. Okay, here come the Furies, not what I had in mind. Okay, no, that's what I had in mind. There we go. He pulls the Harbingers back.
No, should actually go for this one. Needs to get the snipe. 100%
finish
this off.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hyperion's destroyed, maybe at the cost of all these Harbingers, but that's worth it.
It's a good trade.
Especially as it was a level 3 Hyperion. The Harbingers are so slow, so they can't fly away from this one. There's a lot of Hades bombers here as well, so Neatap has to make sure he's mixing in anti-air of his own.
The Dominators are actually fairly busy and they're tying up the Furies at the moment. I mean, there's a second Dreadnought on the field just down below as well, so maybe the Harbingers rotate over to that. They can potentially get some damage down and turn the engagement. They're all going to get taken down though.
I love this as the eliminator turret because that's really what you want against those Harbingers. If it wasn't for that, he would have taken all these defenses here. Okay, Hyperion versus a couple of Eradicators and a bunch of Maulers there as well. The Hyperion's getting pretty low, but it has a bunch of supporting units.
Only 2 Eradicators. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be enough. There's just not enough frontline and exactly strong cruisers, and they're quite expensive. Will be taken out now. Fantastic against the Dreadnoughts, but they do require frontline.
Yeah, needs to group up his army.
Flock of Hades could come down here as well. That's going to be nasty. A few of the Furies getting taken out and traded by the Dominators, but I mean, I'd say the Hades just go for the production right here.
Yeah, the production's really vulnerable out of those Hades. But you could see the Hyperion going down. Actually uses the antimatter detonation. Hyperion having to pull back here. The air units as well are also vulnerable to that.
Everything's going to get out of range though. In a really forward position, obviously hoping to take out...
Nice.
Hoping to... Actually, kills one of his own assemblies. Wait, no.
There's no friendly fire.
There's no friendly fire.
Yeah.
That's weird. It just looked like it. The animation looked like took out one of the own assemblies. But that's alright.
This is a great attack here, because that cutoff will actually lock out this radioactives region. Neatep as well on about, almost winning on the Terranium. So Shimbalama has to actually halt these 2 central generators. This one's undefended. This one here as well. Yeah, I would love to see the Hades just take out all those buildings because they're so squishy.
There's so many Eradicators here, but they could just get wrecked by the Hades at this point. I want to see the Hades go after the Eradicators. They have no anti-air. This could be nasty.
There's more of them here
so many
as well.
Eradicators. Flat out being produced by the assemblies. The transitions here from Neatep are insane. At this point, maybe he just goes and tries to hold the Terranium. He's pretty close to winning the game. It's not going to take much. Just having units on the points. Okay, there's a decap.
Oh man, these Eradicators can just eat this Hyperion. That's exactly what they're doing. But they can't deny this. I mean, look, Neatap has 6,000 Quanta, so he does have a lot of options of what he can do with those abilities and such. He needs to also make sure he locks down his own Terranium generators so Shimbalama doesn't take them with orbitals. Yeah, this Hyperion is going to get eaten.
Yeah.
I don't know how else I can describe it. Eaten just seems very accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that resemble me having my Vitabrits in the morning?
It pretty much does. It's unnervingly similar, machine. Unnervingly similar. And yeah, again, the Harris. This is just the perfect engagement for Eradicators. They're gonna love it. I love when there are more Eradicators than there are frigates in your army. There's a problem there.
Speaking of frigates, they're being reinforced as well, mixing in the Eradicators, but we actually have a strategic bomber. Those are really good versus frigates. There is a decent amount of the Sky Cleansers, and the Eradicators have no anti-air, and they're pretty slow, so they can't exactly dodge that either, but either way, it looks like Shimbalama is just crumbling. He can barely hold his base, let alone the Terranium. Another drone swarm as well, so this cruiser army is going to get cleaned up.
Triple cap on now for Neatap, and there is the quadruple cap. All 4 Terranium points in his hands. Shimbalama looking to be out of this game. GG is called. Wow, what a game.
Yeah, I'm glad you were here to cast this one live. Probably sounded kind of weird, just like stopping for like a minute for you to jump on, but I'm glad because I think that was a really nice game. The Eradicators here can go straight for the Nexus is maybe a bit too far off. And they will eventually get taken out there by the Strap Bombers, but it doesn't matter. GG in the end. Ending the game with 8,000 Quanta, man. Yeah, that was rough. I think Neatap's eco was just better, and while it didn't necessarily look better, it translated into a lot of Quanta. And that was really the manifestation of his better economy, rather than Shimbalama, who was trying to just shove a lot of units. But Neatap's transitions were really good. The Harbingers, the Reapers, the Eradicators. It was such a good strategic maneuver of, rather than just pummeling the same units over and over again, really shake them up. And if your opponent isn't scouting and they aren't prepared for it, then they won't have the right units to counter it.
Just a huge amount of forward thinking as well, investing in that much production. So he was ready at any stage to transition, and transition very hard. I mean, that quadruple Avery went down before Neatep even thought about producing units outside of Dominators. It was just, and it's had all of those assemblies on the top side. Yeah, incredible. Great play.
Yeah, nice game. Well, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more Ashes content. And That's it. Yeah, my name's Callum McCall, designer for Ashes.
My name's Archon Hawk, Shoutcaster, and RTS fanboy. Thank you for joining us.
I said Callum, you said Arklin Hawk.
Oh no, rough. The whole cast ruined. We have to redo it.
Yeah,
I'm Blake.
He's Blake.
I'm Blake. Bye guys.